What's up, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. I hope you guys are doing well out there on this Monday morning. I'm doing real good myself. I just wanted to get on here briefly and discuss the situation with what's going on with Ukraine and how the American people are caping for Ukraine. Okay, and it's basically disgusting, especially when you see some of our own people doing things like, caping for Ukraine, racist, that don't give a damn about, our people here that's in this country that's being oppressed with systematic racism. This is the Azov battalion right here that's fighting some of the so-called soldiers of Ukraine. And it says here, inside Ukraine's white supremacist militia. Okay? Now, I just can't understand for the life of me why you would anybody black would want to give these racists right here, white wannabe supremacists, any support whatsoever. You understand? Because I'm sure none of these guys that you see before you in this picture would ever protest when they hear things like happening to black people that's been shot down. You have the black man, black woman, and black child has been, unfairly treated and murdered by the hands of the police, shot down in the streets. You understand? You don't hear about people in the Ukraine, bat one eye about any support whatsoever in our favor. Okay? Matter of fact, they over there even oppressing black people, like Nigerians and Africans or what have you. But yeah, I got a couple videos, that I want to show you guys, of the hypocrisy, as far as America go, when it comes down to Ukraine. But first of all, I want to show you two, what I call coon-like status on behalf of these two black men. First, we have this guy right here. Yeah. It says here, more than 50 jazz artists team for Ukraine benefit concert in New York City, okay? 10,000 tones for peace on March 18th, which was, Friday, was it? Or Thursday, whatever, I think it was Friday. Will include performances by Oliver Lake, William Parker, Matthew Shipp, Frank London, Joe Morris, and Marty Ehrlich, Melvin Gibbs, and others. Okay, and you have this man right here blowing a saxophone. They're going all out for support for Ukraine. Okay, says here, Arts for Arts, the nonprofit organization that produces the annual Vision Festival in association with the Clementine Deep Tones for Peace, and Centerpoint Arts is presenting a 5-hour benefit concert to raise money for humanitarian aid to the people of Ukraine following the February 24th Russian invasion. On Friday, March 18, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Clementine Flamboyant Theater, 107 South Fork Street, near Delancey. On Manhattan's Lower East Side, more than 50 musicians, dancers, and poets will come together and express solidarity through creativity. Nah, I'm not down with this, not in any way, shape, or form. Whites want to be supremacists, and I'm supporting this? No. And if you think this right here, what I just read, is bad, check this out.
There's a call for action. You answer that call.
United States Army veteran Dr. M. Dujon Johnson unboxes military equipment sent to him by family. Johnson's making his final preparations before leaving to join Ukrainians in the battle for their country.
But at some point, we have to decide we are our brother's keeper, and I feel very strongly about that.
That calling, Johnson says, came from watching a country he loves turn into a war zone following the Russian invasion.
I feel that a foreign power, external power, can attempt to erase the identity and the sovereignty of a country. It's so blatant that it really struck a nerve with me.
Johnson served in the Peace Corps in Ukraine back in 2018, where he trained university professors on how to bring transparency and democracy to the classroom. Johnson, who also trained NATO troops, says he's not just worried about the Russians, he also worries about the unpredictability of fighting with untrained civilians.
Not recognizing and combating toward a friendly fire, the idea of shooting your own people, that's probably a bigger concern even than snipers.
The 62-year-old says he's keenly aware of the dangers. As Johnson reflects on his decision, he says he's relying on faith. And as he's fighting overseas, he wants us to make the world better in our own ways.
And I don't expect people to go over to Ukraine or China or Ethiopia to practice what they preach. But your neighbor who's elderly, try shoveling their snow. This is simply a global extension of how we Americans should believe.
We also reached out to the State Department. A spokesperson says the U.S. travel advisory remains in effect. They do not recommend Americans travel to Ukraine. And they also say if Americans are in Ukraine, they need to get out as quickly and as safely as possible. I'm Veronica Meadows on The Edge.
Now, with all of this systemic racism, and oppression that's going on in this country against, what you would believe to be his brothers, he's not talking about us as being his brother, keeper. He's talking about being a brother keeper to some people that don't give a damn about him. How stupid is that, man? This is ridiculous. This guy right here is just disgustingly stupid, and look, you cannot rely on a person like this. As the old adage go, everybody that's skin ain't kin. We hear that so many times. It's so true. This man is somehow going to a country where these people hate him. You understand? But as long as he's fighting for them, fighting for them is all right, and he's probably going to pay to do that. This is just downright stupid, man. I just don't understand how you can get such, Stockholm syndrome or whatever, to where you would want to defend your own enemy, basically. As far as I'm concerned, Ukraine is getting just what they deserve and what's coming to them. This is the Most High's way of starting a process to removing these particular people off of the earth. And that's just what it boils down to. Okay? Now, I want to show you guys a video, that took place, a story that took place back last summer. I think it was in September, if I'm not mistaken. Check this out. Surely you guys remember this particular situation right here about the U.S. border. Patrol uses whips on Haitian migrants amid surging border crisis. Okay? They call this a crisis. Let's watch this. And then we're going to get into the next video that I want you guys to see.
The White House condemned U.S. Border Patrol agents on Monday who were seen using a whip-like cord to block Haitian migrants carrying supplies into the U.S. from Mexico. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said she had seen some of the footage, calling it unacceptable.
We just saw this footage. It's horrible to watch. I just have to get more information on it. I can't imagine what the scenario is where that would be appropriate. I'm certainly not suggesting that, but we've just seen the footage earlier this morning.
Reuters drone footage captured hundreds of mostly Haitian migrants crossing back and forth between Ciudad Acuña in Mexico and the sprawling camp across the border in Del Rio, Texas, to buy food and water that was short in supply on the U.S. side. Reuters witnesses saw mounted officers in cowboy hats blocking the paths of migrants, and the apparent use of horse reins swung to threaten the migrants. At the White House, Psaki was pressed over whether disciplinary action would be taken.
Is it the president's stance or the White House's stance that whoever these border agents are using what seems to be whips on migrants, that they would be fired or at least never be able to do that again?
Of course they should never be able to do it again. I don't know what the circumstances would be. It's obviously horrific, the footage.
U.S. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz said the incident was being investigated to make sure that there was not an unacceptable response by law enforcement. While visiting Del Rio on Monday, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said the long reins are used by mounted officials to, quote, ensure control of the horse, but also vowed to investigate the facts. The camp under a bridge spanning the Rio Grande has become the latest flashpoint for U.S. authorities seeking to stem a flow of migrants fleeing gang violence, extreme poverty, and natural disasters in their home countries. Hundreds of migrants have been turned around on the Mexico side, leaving uncertainty whether they'll be deported on flights organized by U.S. authorities. Mayorkas said he expects between 1 to 3 daily repatriation flights back to Haiti, and stressed in a news conference that if individuals try to enter the U.S. illegally, they will be returned.
Now check this out.
Some refugees from Ukraine and people fleeing Russia have arrived on the doorsteps of the United States. They are at our southern border. Will Carr reports from Tijuana, Mexico tonight.
The humanitarian crisis spreading across Eastern Europe is now at the doorstep of the United States. Families fleeing Ukraine and Russia, fearing for their lives, flying to Mexico, which, unlike the United States, does not require a visa, and making their way up to Tijuana.
I spoke to one Ukrainian family that left Ukraine in late February. They drove through a series of countries and then were able to fly from Frankfurt to Mexico City to Tijuana, and then waiting here at the port of entry.
Agata Marambi and her husband left Russia after protesting publicly against the invasion.
We just needed to be somewhere far from Putin, far from Russia, far from war actions. But then again, we don't know much about Mexico. We don't know if it's a safe country. We don't think it's a safe country.
Marambi is waiting to claim asylum at the U.S. border along with 30 to 40 other Russians. Some with their backs literally against the razor wire at the port of entry leading to San Diego.
We've seen one woman who's pregnant and a number of kids. Their faces are sunburned. They've been sleeping on the sidewalks here, and they're all desperate to get into the United States.
Through it all, we witness an act of kindness. A Russian girl giving a Mexican girl some candy. A Russian man then handing out apples. A reminder that many here are struggling.
The folks who just arrived either fled before the conflict started or right when it started. So we expect to see an even bigger wave of migrants coming through.
ABC News witnessing Ukrainians go to the front of the line thanks to an exemption to Title 42 listed in this CBP document stating the unjustified Russian war created a humanitarian crisis. Title 42 was enacted during the Trump administration during the pandemic, citing public health concerns to refuse entry at the border, and has been kept in place by the Biden administration. On Thursday, the Secretary of Homeland Security said Ukrainian and Russian refugees will have their asylum claims handled on a case-by-case basis. In February, the Customs and Border Patrol reported 769 encounters with Russian asylum seekers. That compares to just 72 encounters in February of 2021. And while we're told that the number of Ukrainians and Russians showing up at the border is still low compared to those from other countries, hundreds have already made it into the United States. But for those stuck on the other side of the border, like Marambi and her husband, all they can do for now is watch and wait.
And our thanks to Will Carr for that report.
Now, look at the hypocrisy here. See, this is the reason why I don't give a damn what happens with Ukraine and their own personal affairs with Russia. Okay? See? And that's just all there is to it. Where is the horses and the men on the horses with whips running these motherfuckers back across from where they come from? No. The U.S. is opening their, welcoming them in with open arms. You see what I'm saying? And you think that I'm going to have fucking sympathy for them? Hell no. Hell no. And see, this is the reason why things like this is happening to people like this right here. You understand? Ukraine, you understand? And then on top of that, you're going to have all the rest of these so-called European grand countries, you understand, is going to get their portion too. Just like Ukraine. It's just that the Most High is using the enemy of, of his enemy, to take each other out. He did the same thing with the Nephilim giants. He did the same thing, and now he's doing it with them. So I personally have no, I don't feel a bit of sympathy for these low-life people, man. I really don't. They get just what they get. And America, you're going to get yours too. Just because of that shit that you did with the Haitians versus these people right here. You see. To say it's not right is an understatement. Okay? That's all I got on this one, people. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this particular video right here. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, views, and opinions on it. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. People, please remember to live your life as though we are being watched. Simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.